over to the Psylocke so that he can keep up the pressure onto things like that Ultron, being able to target out the flyers, not having to worry about the Guardian Shield being in your way and providing that level of healing for the Psylocke to potentially get scouted on out and have to disengage away from the fight before she's been able to find a hit on either the Ultron or the Star. Having the star power of Touzii and crazykitty, they've got so much flexibility on their duelist lines. They don't really care about being entirely banned out of strategists. As you can see, Mash going to be occupying the cloak and dagger mantle this time around, already in the cloak form, looking for a blind to open up onto Forever on the Venom if he looks for a soft dive first.
Access to that Jeff in the back if only they want to take it. Doesn't actually get used to Frenzied Arrival as there's going to be a split up here from Chopped. As you said, the Ultron does have their struggles against this Star-Lord, but there's some good warding peel coming through from Nocta. I believe a quick TP back as well from Touzii to reposition on a brand new angle and continue to really force Insomnia off of theirs. It's going to be DRP posting up on the point, trying to get that early percentage towards the cap, and now Insomnia have to move on up to try and match this one, but they're doing it without Linepro's heals. Trades out at least for match. twtsy manages to get themselves a little bit of additional work around the edges, but Touzii's found the back line, and boy is feasting with the element guns, able to tear it apart piece by bloody piece.
Yeah, Ultron doesn't have the ease of access of something like a Human Torch to be able to win the 1 versus 1s against the Star-Lord, and Touzii in the space of one fight is already 60% and still climbing to that first Galactic Legend with no Rage of Ultron in sight, plus no Invis Woman means no invisible boundary. But Chop to have to try and force out the Invis ultimate first, and then hold on to the Galactic Legend to use afterwards. Now they're in the driver's seat too. They're going to be able to scout out Insomnia's rotations and try and trade their positions with their Vanguards anchoring the point and peeling for that back line.
Forever, eyes potentially here on a Feast of the Abyss. Not many amplifiers available in terms of turning that one into confirmed casualties. Gonna have to use it just to save themselves. Eating out a chomp of Beetle, the flavor of democracy courses through the veins of a symbiote. Sia is shown and quickly destroyed. Touzii on their own is going to roll on forward. And the Galactic Legend once more should be written on Krakoa. That is not the ideal counter ultimate for RelaxingSky, who's bought out in sequence. Maybe a little bit of nerves hitting as they thought they could try and assuage the onslaught of Touzii, and they could not have been more wrong. The Freedom Charge might be slightly better, but Forever's already fallen on down. Passuo doing their best to save the Rocket Raccoon, but this entire time stalling box, they're not in control.
Yeah, Insomnia as well. The longer that this fight goes on, the less opportunity they have to be able to set up and anchor some of these ultimates together. Beetle clears out Passuo too, so the Captain America doesn't get to go for the back cap and push Chop's positions all the way out, and that means that Touzii got the opportunity to find Nocta, who was looking for a little bit of a cheeky Galactic Legend in the back to push Master's ultimate closer to Insomnia's front line.
twtsy looking over towards the back, the Insomnia Inferno good to go. Mash just gets absolutely decimated, but should be resurrected quickly by the BRB. And this has been destroyed in the back. crazykitty not going to prioritize eating here. Instead, uptime on their own heals from a joyful splash. Chopped, they have themselves the Freedom Charge for a little bit of additional HP and rolling on forward. You can see that now it's going to be the Ultron in the eyes of Beetle. Can't quite reach to get the Sentinel strike, and so the shield throw is not available. Touzii tries to stop the onslaught as it's going to be a Galactic Legend around the back. So much charge on the Meteor, and so Forever is going to see that it's released prematurely. And RelaxingSky has once more found out just how much of a struggle Ultron has going up against Star-Lord in the 1v1.
Not just that, but Insomnia are running 2-2-2, which means that they're relying on the Rocket being able to heal the Ultron when he gets that pressure. Now they don't have the Cosmic Yawn Amplifier too, which means no level of sustainability against the Galactic Legend. And even through the corrosive tendrils, Touzii is still going to be able to wipe the board of Insomnia's players, and Chopped take the first round of Krakoa with a dominant 100-0 position.
Now that was Chopped really setting the tone. 14 eliminations, 13 of them are final hits, by the way.
Not a single revisit to the spawn room either.
Coffees for closers and Matt's caffeinated.
Touzii's just clocking into 9 to 5 at this point. Vertigo is going to have the Cosmic Yawn Amplifier ready to go for this first fight as well, which means it's all up to just running towards RelaxingSky and putting that Ultron under pressure once more.
twtsy going to be catching the first wave of pressure here. You can see the Ultron drones on top of Nocta. There's this attempted pocket coming through, but Touzii has the more personable pocket in the means of a Jeff for Landshark. Nocta forced to give away all of this space, even while having that Ultron drone. Touzii
Sonya's got zero space.
Away.
that it's not just Nocta who's getting absolutely zoned. Insomnia all got bottlenecked inside every single one of those chokes, which meant that Chop get point presence first and can now just bounce the presence into holding it, forcing Insomnia to have to over-invest ultimates just to be able to get through.
Yeah, and the thing about Insomnia's composite, they're going to have a bad time pressuring the point because they don't really have the healing throughput from just an Ultron and a Rocket to stand on business on the point, especially against something like a Cosmic Yarn Amplifier.
Yeah, if they try and open up with Rage of Ultron, it's just going to get absorbed by the Meteor Am, so it's got to be Freedom Charge first to just give everybody a carpet of sustainability to move into position, but Vertigo is going to challenge that with the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier, and Insomnia just don't have the damage to be able to melt it through first.
So Chopped just back off, and Insomnia don't want to fight into the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier nor expose them to those angles. Now they have their own though. Linepro gives the advantage. Cosmic Yarn begins being amplified, and in comes the Ensong Inferno as well, but it seems like no final hits could be found. Crazykitty once again opts out of actually eating anybody. Instead going to prioritize the healing to make sure that Touzii's healthy, chasing down the Phoenix. They're all over the Cosmic Bird, and Touzii finds the final hit. Knocks her up above, gets rid of Vertigo, and they can't resurrect themselves with the Battle Recall Beacon, and so this could be an opening. Save exactly for Beetle in the backline, marauding through the power of democracy, compels Insomnia to try once again, but with no rewards for their efforts. What a cheeky TP from Touzii. RelaxingSky thought that maybe it was time for a sit back and chill, but there's no such thing in this map.
I mean, Chop can just continue the aggression. They've got the mag bubble to be able to help anyone out if they start falling low, plus the BOB would be able to bring them back entirely scot-free for nothing but a trade of a cooldown. Touzii can now hold his position with that Galactic Legend, put the pressure onto Passowo because they know that the Freedom Charge is going to be the ultimate that Insomnia look to have any chance of surviving over time.
Touzii, for now, just wants to try and tax the approaches of Insomnia towards the point, knowing that it's must touch. It's time to pop the Galactic Legend. A quick TP over to the other side. Touzii with the unexpected off angle, and it's got everyone scrambling to try and deal with this. Linepro under siege, RelaxingSky equally pressured. And with very little healing available for Insomnia on the point, I think that the control already could be continued for the side of Chopped. Linepro's down as well. Insomnia run on borrowed time despite the Freedom Charge. It's Nocta working round the edge, but Chopped, they are just an indestructible fortress in the middle of Krakoa. The cradle gets open, so too does a portal, and Insomnia can spill on out. But the Vanguard sit at the mouth of a pentagram of Ferala, a gaping maw, the abyss open, waiting to stare into your soul. And rolling through with a soul bond, there's still not enough mitigation here for Insomnia. Chopped take it away in dominant style.
It's not often that stats tell the full story of how a round goes. But when we look at the stats of this one, it does kind of. And it's actually going to show a lot of context about why the Ultron wasn't working for a number of reasons. One, the Ultron was always coming under pressure from things like the Star-Lord and the Captain America. And two, because you can actually see the amount of healing, right, that RelaxingSky did on that Ultron was 6 fights, both the Luna and the Ultron and the Mantis, which kind of forces RelaxingSky onto having to go onto the Cloak if they want to be able to run a stable Adam plus 2 other main strategist line.
I have to say, oh, hello. I see a Touzii Namor, not the most common Touzii pick here.
That's why I'm worried about the Namor into the CD, especially since Chop, they're going to be able to actually force Insomnia into using the Eternal Bond with the pressure of Sonic Seduction, with the CC immunity that the CD is afforded.
Not at all wrong. Looks like it might be a preparation for a high ground hold here from Insomnia. This is often where we see an Adam team hold on Symbiotic's surface.
There's the soft dive. And Chopped don't care. They just keep walking forward. Actually. I mean, it is stalling them at least, but that's the thing about Crazykitty having no drop-off on the primary, already 20% to the first ultimate.
All right, Beetle and DRP just making their way through the Aegis, bring it up behind, but Passowo actually committed this time. Like we said, broke the calculus. They thought that it might not be a full commit, but this time Passowo stayed in and Passowo got the value. Now there are 4 members of Chopped who are kind of in no man's land. A freeze might get Mash out of this one. It's going to be an accuracy check on to Nocta and twtsy, and they pass with flying colors.
Yeah, Nocta just being able to come through with the pressure of the cosmic clusters on that Adam, already 50% to the first karmic revival. So we're going to be seeing Chopped trying to return and regroup It's going to be Beetle on that Hulk, having to clear out where exactly Password is going to show up on the Venom, because it's not just Password on the Venom now. Twitsy's actually going with him too with the Phoenix.
Yeah, Touzii really committing to these, because with the Dark Ascent, they can move between these planes of verticality fairly easily. DRP brings up an Aegis Shield behind their opponent to try and block off the healing. But both are broken in pretty short order. Nocta is going to use for Cocoon here. Linepro is going to be lacking for healing because Nocta's still resurrecting. And the Karmic Revival's not ready yet, so Linepro's down, and Touzii as well. This, well, might be curtains for the Insomnia defense, who didn't quite reach their power spike and instead were spiked against the wall by a carbon kick.
Insomnia are going to try and contest this. Linepro is off of the Invis onto the Doctor Strange, which means that Touzii is off of the Phoenix and onto the Invis, so they can try and build up invisible boundary. However, I mean, Touzii is going to have the Horn of Proteus the second that any of these ultimates come through, and they pick Nocta again, which means no Karmic Revival.
The thing about the Soul Bond is I think that cooldown doesn't reset on respawn, so Nocta didn't have it available when coming out of the portal, and as the first person to come on in, I think they could have waited a touch more time for one of their more beefy like Vanguards to get out there. Chop didn't even use an ultimate, man. They got 6 now.
It was regen domain. It was literally Portal came through, Vertigo drops regen domain, and Chop pop every single aggressive cooldown that they have. Their Vanguards hold the line on the portal to body block. Touzii untouchable on the off angle from the high ground. Insomnia didn't stand a chance unless they used an ultimate prematurely. Touzii now with that Snowflake too, coming through from the Idol, or going to be a real problem for Insomnia have to deal with on the flank, because that's good. Beetle gets taken down thanks to a great blind and a grab coming on through from Linepro, but you still have to worry about the Emeralds miss going on through.
Crazykitty lays down the healing pool here to try and give DRP an advantage. Just has to bring up the Aegis Shield instead. Sentience grabs, Horn of Proteus into the back. 3 ultimates used already here from Chop to not much effect. And now it's going to be RelaxingSky taking towards the back with the Cloak and Dagger's Eternal Bond. So much sustainability, which Mash will try to match. A fate of both worlds to be decided. Beetle double stunned, taking the angriest Hulk you've ever seen into the backline, and maybe trying to make their way through Touzii. They're smacked out of the green embrace of... Oh, hello. Quick res coming through from Nocta. 3 players brought on back, including both of the strategists. And up close and personal, Touzii does so much damage to the Hulk who was trying to punish this audacity.
For Vertigo,
they've used everything.
Yeah, Vertigo's still got God of Mischief. Chop went for the target focus onto Touzii, who was so close to Endsong Inferno. It forced Nocta to have to burn the ultimate to bring him back. And Chop still have that Loki ultimate in case this fight goes south. Nocta will be able to pick up DRP, though, and that should be Chop having to go back to the drawing board for a next push.
Is Vertigo still in the back? I don't see them respawning.
Yeah, I haven't seen where that Loki could be. Oh, that's a doppelganger. I think Insomnia, they don't know where that Loki could potentially be. They found him. Vertigo goes for a copy prematurely and holds it onto the Cloak and Dagger, so he's going to be able to use the Eternal Bond to get his team forward and then into a blind. Oh, there's going to be so many people vulnerable.
A lot of vulnerable players here, but can the catch-up be found? Remember that up on this high ground, the Eternal Bond hasn't made it up there, so Beetle isn't going to get all of that healing. Yeah, there's supremacy on the ground right now for Chop to Insomnia, just taking it slow. Touzii ready to descend a little bit faster. The Horn of Proteus doesn't quite even deliver a stun here, as Touzii didn't have the angle, but DRP's still ready for a follow-up. A Wrath of the Seven Seas is declared against Forever, but there weren't even any squids there to try and take advantage. Instead, Vertigo gets a little bit of a duplicitous turn upon the White Queen, and now Chopped, their focus on the cart is being rewarded. They have so much free space to work with when it comes to this objective.
That's the second time, by the way, that Nocta got picked, had to use Cocoon, and got picked immediately afterwards again, as Chop just have so much mobility with the Hulk and the Jeff to be able to chase down exactly where that Adam has been. Now the fight, however, is going to open up exponentially. If Insomnia manage to win a single one of these fights, they're going to be able to easily clear Chop from getting into that backline and use that same strategy, and they want to take that space. Out comes the Sonic Seduction into the blind, but a huge Meteor Emperor from Chopped with DRP finding the slam dunk onto the Phoenix stops all of that forward momentum.
Next, I'll simply tease up a Phoenix like a golf ball, and a swing with the driver from DRP was needed. Touzii wraps around the back. The Gamma Squid's almost ready, but Crazykitty's here too. An assault onto a squishy could be everything. Wrath of the Seven Seas is going to be temporarily waylaid by the raising of the invisible boundary. Oh, they overlaid their support ults. Lads! We've overlaid our strategist ults. The invisible boundary and the Eternal Bond as well. Insomnia, despite the huge investment, do not have the sustainability. They've lost to RelaxingSky. Sky, and Linepro's surely soon to fall as well, as Twitsy's too far in. Stretched too far, INSOMNIA will keep this one contested. The Horn of Proteus strikes true onto Linepro, and Nocta's in no place to resurrect, nor does he even have the option.
Oh, okay, he doesn't have the time to be able to take the two enemies into the spawn doors and find the immediate elimination off of the back of that one, but the Vanguards are going to be so far away, and this is such a painful point for Forever. There's no place for the Emma to actually reset herself. INSOMNIA has to just take a fight. Yep. Without a Vanguard, or wait for Forever to respawn and give up so much free point control.
Yeah, you can see Password playing more visibly in main at the moment to try and hold some of that space. Knows exactly where Touzii is. Don't know if they expect 3 people to be here, though. Mash taken out from the back. twtsy found the off angle. An unbelievable beginning here that might be well rewarded. Vertigo's managed to copy out the Cloak and Dagger. Eternal Bond is on the table now. twtsy hangs above it all and looks for an early target, but the sparks haven't really been accumulated towards the back. Instead, an assault of the back line, and maybe a cutting in two here, a bisection of a flank that was generated by Chopped. Touzii close to the Horn of Proteus and gets quite the pocket from... Oh my goodness, the Gamma Squid just decimates the back line. The Wrath of the Seven Seas felt once again. Chopped continue to pound forward.
Oh no, the late pick onto Forever too. INSOMNIA, we're going to be looking to that Emma to open up the space and give them an opportunity to run into the objective. They're not going to be able to make it in time. They had Karmic Revival and they didn't get the opportunity to use it.
I feel like things just went so wrong once we saw the Loki copy onto the Eternal Bond on second. INSOMNIA, like, it was all down on the floor. They could have potentially taken a better fight up on high ground, not gone to where Chopped were at their most valuable. I think Touzii got a lot of value on the off-angle flank there. And twtsy was on such a long flank that I don't think they could receive much support either. It was a messy fight. And after that, they just couldn't really stabilize.
Yeah, we never really saw the momentum get stalled out from Chop's attack. They lost a couple of fights on second, but they still didn't really ever have to full disengage and then play back into taking all of that entry damage poke coming on through from the spam of both the Phoenix and the Atom. Nocta as well has been picked 7 times. Because Chopped have just had such good target focus of being able to find that Atom early. Doing a really good job as well as Touzii. 27 eliminations currently, 13 final hits in one singular round is absolutely wild. It goes to show how many angles Chopped have been able to develop, how much map control they actually had to be able to put pressure onto INSOMNIA from all angles, not just the front line, but onto the back line too.
I mean, I'm impressed by Beetle being able to pick up 25 eliminations as well as a guy without a gun. It can be a little bit difficult to get involved with those frags as a Hulk, but it seems like Beetle's calls are being either well followed up upon, or Beetle is looking towards Touzi's targets and helping very quickly.
Okay, so Paso is going to use the see-throughness of the door to be able to scout where Chop's players are going to be holding, then relay that information to his team. And INSOMNIA can now make a choice. Do you try and walk with one-sided soulbind to take away the high ground, or do you put yourself into an area where Chops are less likely to be able to spam you down on your rotation, which is to the side room on the low ground? twtsy, though, has been left behind, and that Phoenix is now very vulnerable.
Yeah, that Phoenix going to need a little bit of babysitting here. Remember, no option like a flake or something to try and keep that off-angle duelist sustained. Instead, Linepro needs to try and maintain LOS, but it was not there. Touzii, however, had plenty of it and strikes true with the trident. Nocta's, yeah, Nocta ain't going nowhere. Bro does not have the mobility for this. We're going to try and heal through the disengage, but I doubt Chopped are going to let up the pressure that much.
Yeah, INSOMNIA are looking to have one person pressure the point at the same time that twtsy tries to bully the off angle, but Chopped with the Lunar Rocket, and Jeff just have so much sustainability from every single angle possible. You don't need to patty cake and lose all of the heal opportunity for the rest of your players because of that idle aura. That's one of the strengths that Lunar Snow brings to this composition. Touzii off of that spam's already got Horn of Proteus within the first 5.
Oh, the Horn of Proteus is going to be difficult to deal with. Perhaps a Soul Bond might be required, or even a right-click from RelaxingSky if they're up top on it, but I think actually disables the movement ability. I don't play much Cloak and Dagger.
If you try and use that Soulbind too before the res, Chopper just gonna walk directly onto your res position. They're actually just using crazykitty's own ultimate to invade into the space that Nocta was looking to set that one up. And that's gonna be a mag bubble onto the Jeff to make sure that he manages to survive the full rotation with the Adam. Password comes in clutch with the Feast of the Abyss, but Touzii's been able to find the pick. Nocta's got to use the cocoon if he wants to bring himself back.
Yeah, we'll resurrect up on the high ground here, but Touzii's doubling back, knowing that somewhere around here there's an Adam lurking. Sends in the Horn of Proteus, and Linepro can't stand up, but Nocta was cheeky the entire time, sniped out of midair, and remember, no more self-revivals. Nocta brings back 2, but that's going to be where this fight is going to find its close, one way or another. No more second chances. twtsy still has an Ensong Inferno to try and play with, but has to do the administrative tasks of dealing with the squids, and INSOMNIA are still so low on space. They run in onto Touzii. A quick blessing of the deep. The risk has been taken. The pocket is real. In goes the Ensong Inferno, but it doesn't really convert onto much. There's enough healing here to try and get rid of Touzii, but Nocta once again overwhelmed. He walked back so slowly, and he's instantly been taken out of a fight once again. INSOMNIA, they've only got a single tick to show for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Beetle and crazykitty are just a hit squad right now on Nocta, who, like you said, is getting spawn camp, punishing the fact that INSOMNIA's plays are still split. They still had presence on the objective and didn't have anyone to be able to care the upkeep of the Adams walk-up. Password now is going to have to go for a soft engagement, just trying to force Chop's attention to stop them from running aggressively into main, as we're down to under a minute, and INSOMNIA have one good fight left in the bag. crazykitty might just hold on to the Jeff ultimate too, to stop any strange portal back for INSOMNIA to put themselves onto the objective in overtime.
That would certainly be a very dangerous proposition. Whenever crazykitty's mostly been prioritizing using the healing pool instead of actually eating anybody up in these cases. INSOMNIA, they don't quite have the move towards the high ground here. Instead, they just opt into a brawl on the point with the invisible boundary. Cosmic Yarn Amplifier grabbed on up. There's no means of escape here for the Venom or for the Adam.
Oh no, the CC immunity of its jab. crazykitty uses the ultimate to dodge the Psionic Seduction so that INSOMNIA can't make a play with the triple strategist line on the space that the M has created, and that is Symbiotic Surface coming to a close. We thought maybe it's just that Chopped were dominant on domination, the map type that they've historically had the most amount of success with. No, they were just dominant in this matchup currently, Harry. That was a clean full hold coming on through from this team.
Chop just seemed to be in a class of their own. The full completion into the full hold on INSOMNIA's map pick. There's going to have to be a lot of soul searching done here, as it seems like
it's going to be the Touzii Human Torch. Back in stage 1, there was rules that you did not allow certain things to get through the ban draft. Touzii tended to get 3 bans targeted towards him. The Psylocke, they can also play that too, with him flexing over to the Duelist and won the Vanguard. As we can see, it's going to be INSOMNIA on the Hulk. So they anticipated, they knew that they let things like the Flyers through, and they're already on counter Flyer measures.
Okay, for twtsy, it's time to become a generational duelist player. Full pocket here, getting the Unbreakable Guard, getting the damage boost, getting the Lunar Flake. All of the eggs are in the twtsy basket for this hold.
But look at all of the space that they've lost because Chopped are running a singular Vanguard. Beetle is onto the Wolverine, putting even more pressure onto INSOMNIA, and he's already been able to find a grab onto Forever, and there's just nothing. The Nemo's getting everything, which means that the mag is left out to dry.
Even with Light and Dark Karma deployed, seems like RelaxingSky had a bit of additional survivability, but not much more than that. Beetle going after the Hulk. Passio just continuously right on down. crazykitty hot drops into the back line of INSOMNIA. Feels little fear going up against a triple strategist, knowing the damage output isn't quite there. Forever's going to open up the cart and return. Yes, get a quick touch onto the objective. It's just going to hold up their shield and beg for mercy, but Beetle has little mercy in his heart. INSOMNIA get quickly capped upon on first.
Yeah, Linepro builds up the Soul Resurgence now, but didn't have access to it in the fight. Nocta now might also get staggered too, as Chop's just going to continue that aggression. And that's going to force Soul Resurgence, but they're all going to be slowed down because of Invis Boundary. And when they try and get out of Invis Boundary, they run directly into Ischaf.
Okay, miss. I don't know if that one was entirely purposeful. Still, it cannot be punished just yet. This human torch around the outside is so difficult to deal with because twtsy can't afford to invest the usage of the blessing of the deep to get up there and deal with this one. Beetle with the last stand. Touzii on the follow-up. twtsy and Linepro already down. A quick karmic revival here from Nocta. And there's finally going to be a little bit of survivability given on over. Extra damage boost. Vertigo is absolutely jellified under the biomass that was brought forth here. twtsy rolls up on Touzii, but use the blessing of the deep to do so. Still, it's rewarded for the aggression. There's enough pocket here that twtsy can afford to be so aggressive.
Yeah, huge defensive Hornet Proteus to come through after the Karmic Revival cast, damage boosted as well off of both the Luna and that Mantis, which means one-shot potential aplenty. Chop now are going to be going over off of the Wolverine onto the Groot, looking for isolations onto this Mag, who does have that Meteor M up against Touzii with the Galactic Legend, but if he gets isolated, he might be forced to use it early. There goes the Solid Ultimate, there goes the Mag Ultimate, and there goes Vertigo all the way back to spawn.
Only got himself to blame, charged it up with a joyful splash, but then you can't really control that as Jeff, given how far that projectile goes in towards the back. The Wrath of the Seven Seas doesn't quite connect. A good dodge coming through from the Invisible Woman, but twtsy on this high ground is going to be difficult to remove.
I mean, he got so much spam. He's already 80% to that next Horn of Proteus. Is going to be able to put so much pressure onto Chop's players. They've got the Strangling Prison. Currently, they don't really have anything to combine it with other than maybe Vertigo coming on through with the It's Jeff. DRP's got to go all the way around the side so they don't run directly into that name or spam. And there goes the Strangling Prison into the Jeff feet. He only gets his friendly Groot, though.
Only got the friendly Groot. It must have been Pasuo with the Unbreakable Guard, making sure that everyone was immune to that CC, and then instantly going into the Angry Hold form. 3 players going together. Not the ideal way to mitigate the damage from an Ultron. I'm not going to lie to you, fellas. Does mean they're sharing that one out, but I don't know if you want to democratize that damage. Nocta with a quick resurrection, bringing back Linepro and RelaxingSky. So the healing's going to be here for Insomnia, but twtsy is going to need to try and find something on the off angle.
RelaxingSky does have Fate of Both Worlds, though, to try and survive DRP's Feast of the Abyss. Beetle finds Linepro, and that forces Insomnia down one of their strategists to have to use the Luna, which means that DRP is going to get a free Feast of the Abyss, and Touzii just has to worry about that Meteor M. Out comes the Soulbind. The Adam's resources have been forced, and Chop just continue applying the pressure because they've got the space.
The light and dark karma there means RelaxingSky feels unbothered on the approach. The layers of walls here. The defensive onion has been erected.
The force physics.
And the force physics gets a little bit of value here. Still, Pasuo is going to be able to make this work. In towards the back. The Meteor M doesn't get anything. A Strangling Prison grabs in the Vanguards. RelaxingSky also a victim. DRP's Dark Predations backed on up by the Thorn Lash walls, and the damage is supreme here for Chopped. Still, they continue to roll on through. Pasuo flies through the air, but just gets an excellent view of the cart capping through onto third.
See, normally having an off angle is actually a really good thing for strategists and an aim composition. On second, when the objective is so close to that finish line, it actually interferes with the LOS a lot of the time. So Insomnia being split into 2 halves of a team meant that they weren't getting all of the resources given to them. twtsy now moves on over towards that Phoenix, trying to take all of the advantage from Chop moving forward, overextended, looking to stack up those sparks, but Touzii's already got the Galactic Legend, and DRP dives into the backline to prevent a safe disengage. It's got to be turned at least somewhat over to Pasuo, but RelaxingSky still uses Fate of Both Worlds to save Nocta, so that Nocta doesn't have to use the cocoon to self-res.
There's a second phase here if Insomnia wants it. There it is. Linepro backing in straight away with the Soul Resurgence, but bursted on through. Vertigo looks towards the back, knowing what Nocta might be cooking. Gets both the Phoenix and the Adam. This is absolutely ruinous for Insomnia. The cart's going to continue moving. These 2 are expelled elsewhere. The lesser mobility of the Adam Warlock is really going to be a problem back there, as they don't want... Why?
Well, the problem there is if they leave the Adam on that angle and Nocta uses res, then all of a sudden Insomnia's players would get res behind Chopped rather than in front of the Groot to wall off the spawn doors.
Truth heard, speak it, Mogs. Forever. caught in the corner. Now the Galactic Legend forces twtsy up to the sky. Nocta noted on the approach. May well have a Karma Revival to work with. Still on mid-air, not quite working. Forever can't connect. 2.5 meters separate Chopped from their full completion, but being down on Touzii is definitely going to be a big opening for Insomnia. They're only worrying about crazykitty's damage output now, or DRP with a Feast of the Abyss. He looks to just keep everyone locked away in the spawn, getting up close and personal to that Phoenix. We know how dangerous it can be, but in the end, it's just the cart that's going to be contested here by the vanguards of Insomnia. The Cosmic Yarn Amplifier drawn on up, and so Chopped call for disengage.
Yeah, Nocta actually uses Karmic Revival too, which means that Chopped are more than happy to just let the Adam res and bring the mag back, because the mag doesn't have Meteor M, and crazykitty's got Rage of Ultron. But Chopped to just go aggressively in. Touzii's even back over to that Human Torch. They're just going to go aggressive in this fight off of Beetle with the Strangling Prison.
Rage of Ultron spreads out the damage. This time, giving themselves a little bit more space to work with inside the Strangling Prison. It should be easily healed through here. Nocta prioritized, and there's a big grab coming through from Vertigo to get rid of multiple members. You can see the mag is going to be the primary victim of that one. Sent to the Shadow Realm, actually bounced off the wall, and so lands directly back on the car. Maybe a little bit of help given over there by Vertigo, but crazykitty definitely not helping Insomnia right now. Absolutely tearing through them. Touzii comes through on the Human Torch that we noted earlier, but Nocta's managed to get them with a Cosmic Cluster. The mechanics are still here for Nocta. The hope and dream is still alive with 4 members up. Insomnia didn't have anyone on the car ready to go, and that's going to be Insomnia full capped upon with 22 seconds still in the time bank for Chopped.
Yeah, the ebb and flow of Chopped, that Lunar Ultimate plus the heal per second, try and keep everybody alive through it so they could put themselves onto the objective after the CC's one off. And then if the fight... So, at least for Insomnia, like, they do have to worry about the nests, especially because you can actually see where the mine deployment is going to be. Is the generator, it's in a small room. The Punisher's not going to have access to it unless he goes directly in there.
What you need here is a Squirrel Girl to start bouncing some nuts. Finally, Pro Squirrel Girl confirmed. Forever slowly floats on down using the magnetic levitation. Look at the little cubby hole that Chopped have got themselves here. They re-emerge with Pasuo, having led the charge. A trailblazer indeed, but Nocta's trail has been very thoroughly blazed by Beetle. Isolated in the back line, Pro's got no choice but to fall to crazykitty's iron volley. And once again, Chopped, they just escape into the catacombs.
So unironically, Squirrel Girl would actually be pretty good to be able to ricochet damage off of the generator. If not the Squirrel Girl, punish the fact that Touzii's on the Loki, and Nocta can find the Onk bounces. Over the top they go from the other angle and forces the Devious Exchange onto the Loki. Good Groot Wall comes on through from Beetle so that Touzii can survive the reposition, but Nocta now is so close to the first Haunt of Khonshu. But Chopped have just flipped map. They've got all the way to attacker spawn now.
Okay, and potentially bisected one moment at a time by Beetle, the Insomnia tank line. The Vanguards have been dragged down to the floor. Nocta's already been taken down. For Insomnia, they're starting to think about this cerebrally, but once again, I'm not sure if you can think your way out of this. Swirly towards the back, the absolute yeeting power, and that's RelaxingSky from long range, bringing up the invisible boundary. Great play from the Invisible Woman, playing from elsewhere. Touzii off for splash damage, gets caught on that. Oh yeah, the BRB. Ragnarok Rebirth may have left Loki, but you can't keep a good Trickster God down. In comes the Hand of Khonshu. Nocta doesn't really connect at all right here. twtsy from on high. It's going to be Goddess versus Goddess. I believe that one's a copy from Touzii.
Yes, it is. And it's damage boosted too. However, Insomnia will be able to find the win and the elimination. Have they finally been able to break the spawn hold though, as out comes Spider Sweeper.
Yeah.
And Penny just runs directly at RelaxingSky, who at least has access to force physics and doesn't have to worry about the mines underneath their feet.
Most useful Penny out I've ever seen in my life. DRP surely's got to restart off the bat. What is Bro doing? What is Bro doing over here?
Oh no.
Homie's confused.
Wait, he's trying to find the pick onto Nocta. Okay. He did buy enough time though. crazykitty unchecked onto Doctor Strange was able to teleport the rest of the team to the back of the objective and now fortify their position for another rocket VRV, which does get taken down just before crazykitty can be brought back by it.
Okay, DRP does swap. Don't know if he makes the solo push. He does make the solo push through. In fact, does have Vertigo behind them. or mash behind them rather, on the Jeff. And they're swapping around who's playing these characters. A little bit confusing. DRP forced of a Sonic Vortex. Insomnia can maybe try and get something off the momentum here after what was quite a wild self-stagger coming through from DRP. Twice in a row, actually. Beetle rolls on through. The hands of Khonshu descend upon Groot, who manages to lay down the strangling prison, but there's no one really here to try and follow up upon it. It's just mash on the Jeff, and well, that's going to be Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder hitting the wall.
If the storm stays, I thoroughly believe that there is an opportunity for Touzii to use God of Mischief to copy twtsy and them to do the Jeff Nado. Oh, never mind. Touzii's over to the Winter Soldier. Free has been broken. Back to 2-2-2 compositions we're gonna go, especially because we're gonna be able to potentially find the hook to cancel Forever's ultimate too, with the Strangling Prison not getting to combine with the Storm's ult.
We do a little trolling. The time for trolling is over now, though, as Beetle's already been taken down, lumberjacked by Insomnia. And it's going to mean that it's even longer before Insomnia can really face a big challenge from 6 members of Chopped.
Paswo gets fully cleared out by the Winter Soldier, which now means that the angle from the high ground is in Crazykitty's control. Nocta too, just trying to spam damage with those Onk bouncers to build upon the Khonshu and play off of Forever's ultimate, but Chopper through the choke and onto the objective brawl they go.
Oh, that's a huge strangling prison, and they're all trapped in one place, sharing out the damage. The Meteor M is up above. All of the resources are pumped into twtsy to shut down the weather front that was given over. Insomnia, a big investment, but Chopped have to equally invest to shut down the momentum that had been gained off of first.
Insomnia, though, now have to walk into Touzii, having full control of the space and Kraken impact. They're not going to be able to rely on Paswo going on through with a soft dive to pull the attention of the rest of the players to get to move forward, because they've got Phoenix Stuns and Force Physics and Mag Bubble. As DRP is actually coming under a lot of pressure on that right side lane, Insomnia will be able to buy that push forward from main off of the back of that. As Chop, they're not overextending. They're waiting for Insomnia to walk to them. They know that win condition, and that's the Winter Soldier.
I don't mind seeing Forever here on the neutral Doctor Strange. Excellent mechanics in his back pocket with this, and the earlier usage of the Dark Maelstrom as well, is ready to go with only a 6-second cooldown. Going to be an exchange of hooks here between Nocta and Touzii. It's definitely going to be a difficult battle. Uphill for Nocta, but it's not impossible for Insomnia to win out with this one with raw skill and brain power.
Chopped a better combo though. Strangling Presence for Kraken impact, but the dodge and the Guardian Shield from RelaxingSky. Touzii thought he could find the connection. Has to use the Trooper's Fist to disengage before he can get slowed by the boundary.
All right, ready to go with a Jeffy. Straight away, Nocta shut on down as they try to match this one. Mash towards the leg, just going to prioritize raw healing throughput, not going for an eat, and instead can just deploy the Joyful Splash to keep the members of the team away. And that's going to be Crazykitty. Impact midair onto Paswo. Raises up with cosmic intent and crashes down as you go up against the Phoenix. And now it's going to be a big stun coming through. Crazykitty taken on down. Touzii's pocketed here by Vertigo. The patience was real to make sure the invisible boundary was brought up at the right time. Linepro also slain as the frags are delivered. It's too far gone though for the side of Chop. They're going to be able to reinforce via the portal. I don't know if Insomnia have similar usage here. A little bit of portal trolling comes on through, and Insomnia can't touch the card. Chopped have held it with the patience of stone. They've managed to stand in the way of Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder and send Insomnia to the abyss.
Yeah, that Force Physics finds the connection on the Wolverine just before he can hit the objective and hit overtime for the rest of the team to move on through from that portal. Crazykitty will walk away with the MVP, and it's Chopped walking away with the 3-0 victory, continuing their journey in the lower bracket to potentially find a rematch and manage to punch their ticket finally to that LAN in Atlanta.
Oh,